Hi, I'm B.
And I'm T.
And this is T&B Talks Books. I know we've been on a long hiatus, but we're back.
Too long, I'm sure.
And we're here to present one of the books on our summer reads list.
Yes, today we want to talk about Lloyd Jones' The Hand-Me-Down World, which you gave me while I was away.
Yes, and we've read it quite a bit ago, so we will talk in mostly generalities, but we both loved it.
I was going to say, but which talks good things about the book, because we both loved it enough that even though we've read it a while ago, we want to bring it to you guys because it is a really good book.
Yes. So it starts out and you really have no idea where the narration is coming from, and you only realize once you get to a further chapter that every chapter is narrated by a different character in the book. Sometimes it flips back and forth to a person that's already done some narration, and it gets more in-depth as you get into the novel. But at first it's like, hey, who's saying this? And that's part of the theme of the novel.
So the novel traces this woman whom you first meet as Inez, who she's
a maid at a hotel.
And the hotel sort of turns a blind eye to sex workers or
their employees who actually turn tricks in the hotel. And Inez is one of those who
slowly gets seduced into that lifestyle because she needs money to support herself.
Yes.
And then meets someone, falls in love, and has a child.
And has a child by him. And he, makes the, usual advances of, oh, yes, I'll help you. Oh, yes, you will come back with me to Germany. He lives in Germany, and we will, have this child together, right? So she ends up having the child, and he steals it.
Yes.
And
so then the bulk of the book is tracing her path as she tries to figure out A, where her son is, and B, how to get him back, or at least to have him in her life.
Yeah.
And you follow her as she's from Tunisia, she makes her way across the Mediterranean, ends up in Italy. You see what happens to people who are trafficked.
Yes. And really, she's doing this, it's very impulsive, right? Yeah. She brings whatever savings she has and she just goes. She goes on a boat which is full of people with no visas and no passports or anything like that. Yeah. And they get basically dropped in the middle of the, what sea is it?
Well, the smugglers are afraid that someone's going to see them.
So they
just dump everyone, and people have to swim to live,
and she does.
She makes it.
So it's an amazing story of like this woman's perseverance and survival mechanisms. Like she just does what she has to do basically to get to her child. And
and then you follow her travels through the narration of people she's met along the way. They're talking about their experiences with her, and then at some point in the novel, which we don't want to give it away because it's a great plot point,
a good twist.
You start to hear her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And she describes what happened to her from her perspective on the way, and you see the stories where they match up and where there's
a lot of
things that are perhaps not said.
And then you as you read, like, so the way the narration is, at first it's kind of like alien. You're not really sure where it's going or why it's like that, and then it doesn't matter anymore. That's the thing that really got me. Even though you're reading this novel that seems not as cohesive because it's all these different narrations, and you realize that, you just kind of accept it. And then when you realize what's happening, I guess three-quarters of the way through, you're like, wow, it's just so remarkable.
And I think it speaks to the sophistication of the writing and the tautness of the writing, that you are so invested in what these people are saying. You feel like you know this woman, but there's a part of you that can hear this ghost story sitting in the background, and you're knowing that what they're saying
is not quite her reality anyway. You know, like there's something about everybody's stories that's theirs only,
and
right?
they're all so altruistic in their descriptions of their
own actions. Yes,
I did this and I did that. And
I was so good to her, you know. Yes,
and it's only in her recounting of the travels that you start to see where things sort of may or may not have
been in her favor, and she might have had to do something that seemed drastic when you read it from the other person's point of view, but in reality it was the only choice she felt that she could make. And you know, it's all about this, and the gray areas of perspective and morality, and it does the end justify the means kind of stuff, and all of that. Like it's a good thinking book. And
I like the way the sort of the uncertainty and the tone is married by her ability to communicate with these characters at any given time, because she's an African hotel worker who ends up in Italy, who has to try and communicate with these Italians to get herself through Italy, to move on to Austria, then to move her way to Germany, not knowing any language that the locals are speaking, and how she tries and succeeds to get there. And
it's, you know, and it's a novel. It's amazing, right? Like he's created a world here, and a really believable situation, and you think, wow, how many people have to do things like this in their lives, from worlds like Tunisian hotel maids, you know, like these things happen, and
I think it says some interesting things about society in a much smaller way. We can all talk about well, I hate to use the word illegal immigration because it's all immigration, whether or not it's, but these people who make it to countries without visas and without official sanction, and their struggles, as well as the struggles of the people around them. And I think it draws you to look at those interpersonal contacts, and it speaks to a broader issue of societies and people,
and how we treat each other. Really. So big thumbs up on this one. Like really amazing. One of the best books I've read since January or before. And
we'll take a minute to talk to you about our summer reads.
Yes, we're just going to hold them up and say, read it. Yes. So, super sad, true love story by, I'm not going to say his last name because I'm really bad at pronouncing.
Garrett Stilson. I can't do it.
Okay.
I was going to do it, but no.
But we love him because he was one of the New Yorker fiction issue from last summer, and I read an excerpt from that, and it was really, really amazing.
Now this one, I don't know anything about this one.
Well, Michael Williams is a big travel guy in Britain, and he's written On the Slow Train, which is 12 great British railway journeys. So
oh my God, that's for my dad.
For many people's dads. And I think it's a good, staycation book. You know, nice. You can stay in Vancouver or wherever you are and still go to Britain. And the cover is fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes, way to go on that.
And Eleanor Catton's The Rehearsal.
We love The Rehearsal.
Yes.
It is a very, very brilliant book, and Eleanor Catton deserves huge kudos on this one. So it's her first novel, and it's...
So if you haven't found it, find it. Maybe we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
The Lunatic Express.
Also very cool.
So funny.
Very cool. And and it shows you, we're so spoiled in North America.
Yeah.
We think that we can just get in our car and go, across the province and blah-de-de-blah. Well, most people don't do that.
No.
He's a great journalist, and he's been out there, so he knows how it is. So.
Yes. So you'll enjoy it.
Yes.
Another summary. Ooh, Jennifer Egan. I haven't read this one yet, but I heard good things about it.
Awesome.
And
we love her.
A Visit from the Moonscott.
And if you want to laugh.
Oh yes.
Okay, Sloane Crosley, very, very funny woman. And you'll never stop laughing.
And it's How Did You Get This Number? It's a series of essays.
Yes.
So Talking points.
Talking
to girls about
Duran
Duran.
Does it bring it all back for you? It did for me.
I love the cassette cover on the thing.
Rob Sheffield. He also wrote "Love Is a Mixtape,"
Yes,
and which was also very funny. And it's about one man's quest for true love and a cooler haircut. So there you go. What more could you want?
Maybe that's what I should be doing. One woman's quest for. I was Douglas Copeland's flatmate.
Not Ket Copeland.
Oh, Douglas
Adams.
Adams. Sorry. I'm a BCer.
Copeland's
What
would
can I
be
say?
interesting too. So this is it's based on a BBC radio series, and it's basically interviews with people who knew famous people.
Yeah.
And so it gives that weird off perspective, and it's very entertaining.
If you ever make it big and rich and famous, it's what your roommate will say about you. Or maybe not. Hopefully not. And
Atlas of Impossible Longings. Yeah, so we want to read this. We haven't read it yet.
I love
dying to.
Yeah.
It's her first novel.
Yeah.
And I just I have a thing.
Beautiful cover.
Yes, and
It's just gorgeous.
it has that whole epic. Sorry, where's it set
South
again?
Asian story.
Yes, Bengal. So post-partition kind of world, which I'm kind of partial to anyway.
Yeah.
And family saga kind of thing. So these are our picks. Read them all.
Yes.
Let us know.
And just as a wrap up, we love Lloyd Jones and
Hand Me
The
Down World. Thumbs up.
It's an easy read, and you can read it on so many levels, and it's smart, and you won't be disappointed with the time you spend reading it.
Yes, we loved it. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.